Hello, it is Throwback Thursday, May 19th, 2022. Steve Sipress here with a gorgeous sunset going on behind me in the west. And all this talk about Elon Musk. I've been talking about him a lot recently with him being in the news with the attempted, perhaps possible takeover of one of the many big tech cesspools of anti-Americanism, Marxism, socialism, censorship, anti-free speech, anti-capitalism, anti-everything that makes America great, makes America a leader in the world, makes America the number one destination that people risk their life to come to. But I digress. Toby is here, and Toby, no, I am not doing a cannonball into the pool behind me this evening. But I got to tell you that I've been fond of Elon Musk way, way back. Not his very first company. First company he founded with his brother, a company called Zip2, where they help newspapers enter the online world way back in the mid 90s when the internet was first starting to really catch on commercially. And the city search, you may remember, was a big deal back then. The newspapers didn't know how to compete, and they knew that they were on a downhill slide that they are still on. And Elon Musk recognized that problem and put together a solution they called Zip2, and they licensed this software to newspapers, New York Times and other big papers, USA Today, I think another one, and on and on and on, to help them to enter the online world. Elon Musk kept, after all the funding rounds, he kept, I think, about 7%. So when it was sold, about 4 years later, maybe 5 years later. By the way, Elon Musk started this after he had entered a Stanford, he moved to California, entered a Stanford University PhD program, and he dropped out after 2 days. That's how smart Elon Musk is, joining other college dropouts, Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, big tech billionaires that understood what the heck am I doing wasting my time in college. Unlike me, who did waste 7 years in college and law school, not smart enough to drop out as these guys were. But I digress. So Zip2 sold to Compaq, I believe it was, for a little over $300 million. Musk pocketed $22 million. He then almost immediately put $11 million into his next project, where he, again, saw a problem and put together a solution. It was the world of banking, which was filled with all kinds of nonsense that you may not remember, limited hours and all kinds of rules and regulations and all kinds of costs that were ridiculous. He called this online bank, it was one of the first ever licensed and registered online banks, called X.com, and I was one of its first customers. I loved the idea. I bought into the pitch of the online bank. I mean, these costs of banks being paid by, today, first of all, you go to big cities, lots of big buildings named after banks, insurance companies and banks, because they're making tons of money. And if you go into a bank, certainly back in the day, you go in and they had the big columns and the big marble this and the big impressive whatever and the big vault with the 1 foot inch thick door and walls and security guards all over and lots of employees and desks and tables and all kinds of stuff, and a lot of prime real estate in downtown and major cities and lots of locations. And that was the pitch, that X.com is online. So we don't have all those costs of an actual in-person bank, and we're passing on that savings to the customer. And I remember that they were therefore paying much better interest. I think the online banks are paying, I don't know, what was it, 1% or whatever, and X.com would pay 2%. And so it's a very tiny little bit. But again, I bought into the pitch. As a entrepreneur, a rebel, renegade, whatever you want to call us, entrepreneur myself, I have never been a fan of the big banks. And that description of the solution of X.com as opposed to big banks, I was all on board. Let's go. Well, Elon Musk from X.com developed an online payment system you may have heard of, even if you haven't heard of Zip2 or X.com, called PayPal. And so that came out of X.com, and Musk's about $11 million or so, I think, he put into it. an online payment system that about 15 years later also, or 10 years later, became an offline payment system. I was one of the first customers of PayPal also, and I got my PayPal debit card where I can use my PayPal funds, I don't know, probably about 10, 12 years ago now when they first came out. So PayPal then went into the world of offline transactions in addition to online. And of course, they were bought out by eBay for $1.5 billion. So the first big strike it rich for Elon Musk, and he's gone on and on and on. Tesla and SpaceX, and now Twitter, if he does buy it, will be the next big one. I predict he'll make about $100 billion from it, or maybe only $50 billion if he, raises funds and does whatever before he takes it back public. If he does buy it, because of course he'll clean it up, which a big part of it is just getting rid of the anti-American, anti-capitalist, Marxist, communist losers that run the place, like all the big tech companies, and put in place. You can keep some of the yeehaw losers, but put in place enough people on the other side to at least get something done that isn't stupid and anti-human, anti-free speech, and anti-capitalist. I mean, things have leaked out of Twitter since Elon Musk has come along now of, oh yeah, we don't like to work and we hate capitalism, and is it a wonder the thing doesn't make any money? I mean, gold mine for Elon Musk. Just put in some people who want to work and get results, and that thing will take off, I have no doubt, if he does decide to buy it. Of course, it is a cesspool of crap, and of course, they've been lying over the years about their users. Probably all the big tech companies do and are, and lots of non-big tech companies lie. Heck, when you got to sell the company, just like selling anything, there's a tendency to have fluff, exaggeration, whatever you want to call it. Heck, we had a president in the White House 4 years, an entrepreneur. You certainly saw primo example, the whole world saw, of fluff, of overselling, of over-promoting. That's just what you do when you're selling stuff. Anyway, so what is the business lesson here? Well, it's the foundation of business success, of entrepreneurial success. You find a problem, and then you offer a solution to people. That's how Musk has done it all along. So Zip2, he said, wow, these newspapers have a problem. They're old fuddy-duddy offline, and they're going to get gobbled up by online. They're going to disappear. We need to help them out to get online. Boom, Zip2. Hey, the banks suck, and they're, people are paying for their outrageous expenses, and if we can just bring it right to the public and cut out those expenses, people love it. Boom. Hey, PayPal, people want to pay online. Back when I was first selling on eBay around the turn of this century, a little before 2000, I started selling a whole bunch of stuff. I was like, wow, an online yard sale. I can get a lot more money than a local yard sale. Let's put it on there. And sure enough, when you get 2 or 3 bidders, or you have something rare, that a bunch of times I had something, I didn't even realize how valuable it was. I might have put it at a yard sale for $1, and it goes for 50 or 100, because people are like, man, that's a rare first edition of that book. Boom, 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 boom. Whoa. So I was selling stuff on eBay. PayPal came along, and boom, better way. I mean, I was sitting there getting checks mailed to me, so I had piles all over my apartment. I had the pile of stuff I need to take photos and create the description and put online to sell. I had another pile of this stuff is online, and right now it's accepting bids. And then I had a pile of stuff, these auctions are over, and people are mailing their checks to me. And then when I would get a check would arrive, I would look through that pile of stuff, pull it out, pack it up, go to the post office and ship it. Well, PayPal eliminated one of those piles. No longer had to have a pile of this stuff is already sold and just waiting for the check to arrive. And then once in a while, of course, those checks bounced. And so maybe you waited for it to clear. So stuff just, it was not good for anybody. Stuff just took, lots of stuff hanging around in inventory for sellers, waiting for the checks to come in, waiting for the checks to clear. And the buyers waiting for their check to arrive and to clear before they can get their stuff. So PayPal comes along and says, hey, the second an auction ends, somebody can pay you, boom, it clears immediately, and you can go ship it out the same day or the next day. So it eliminated that whole pile of like waiting for a check and for buyers. it opened up a whole new world of like, hey, I can actually buy something and get it shipped out to me the same day or the next day, not waiting 2 weeks to receive it, only a few days maybe, right? So again, Elon Musk always looking for where's a problem that I can offer a solution. And therefore, when you do that, people will pay you for it. And they have paid Elon Musk handsomely and on for his next companies. You know, hey, electric cars, like nobody's making really good ones and nobody's making cool ones. Boom, solution. Hey, space travel, the government, obviously, that sucks at everything. Can't do space travel, right? So solution is we want to go to space, we want to go to Mars, we want to do whatever. Solution is do it privately. Boom. SpaceX, and on and on and on. And I have a feeling Elon Musk will do this for the rest of, he's only about 50 years old, I think, for as long as he wants to keep doing things and be an entrepreneur. He will keep using this system, which I highly recommend you use as well. Find a problem that irks you, bothers you, something you know something about. Maybe it's something you use, something you've heard of, something you wish you could use, but there's a problem out there. Figure out a solution and then offer it. Bang. Another lesson, by the way, when PayPal first started, they were losing money. And one of the reasons were their aggressive customer acquisition strategy, which I highly recommend if you want to grow quickly and you have deep enough pockets to do it. PayPal was offering, when it first came out, $10 for every referral. $10 for the referrer, $10 for the referee, the new PayPal user. So every time I had a completed eBay auction, I would then send out the email instead of here's my address, mail a check. I mean, I would say that, here's where you mail a check. Or did you know, you can sign up to this thing, you'll get a $10 bonus just for signing up. That means the cost of the item you bought from me is only going to be $2 or $10 or free or whatever. And also, you will get your item about a week quicker. So check it out. More convenient, no more paper checks, no more waiting, and all that good stuff. And so I got $10 a piece for everyone I referred. I was selling 5 or 10 items a day, probably got at least half the people to sign up. After a few months, they knocked it down to $5, $5 each for the referrer, $5 for the new member, user, customer of PayPal, whatever it was. But I racked up. So I knew that when I was putting something on and selling it for $10, if about half of my buyers I was getting $10 from, that means I was really selling that for 15. Like, great deal, right? So win-win deal. However, obviously PayPal paying out $20 to acquire a new user was going a little bit in the negative. So extremely aggressive. The most aggressive way to acquire new customers, go negative. They did the $20 per acquisition, 10 for the referrer, 10 for the referee. For a while, they knocked it down to 5. They were still losing $10 to acquire a customer. But what do you know? That PayPal was sold to eBay for $1.5 billion and became the official default payment system of eBay and took off. And then I think about 5 or so years ago, PayPal and eBay split officially. So now it's spun off so they can do their own thing, but Elon Musk is long gone from it and on to his next thing. So that's Throwback Thursday, my trip down memory lane, my personal trip with Elon Musk along his entrepreneurial journey. Also in anticipation, you might have seen yesterday in my World Wide Web Wednesday video, in anticipation of Elon Musk possibly taking over Twitter, and maybe if he doesn't, somebody else will that'll clean it up and get rid of the communist, anti-capitalist, anti-free speech losers that run the place. I went back onto Twitter. All I had to do was, hey, log in, new user, and select a username at Steve Sipress. Hey, that's available, sure. Because I had it for about 10 or 12 years before it was hacked, and I lost all my followers and all my tweet history. Hey, now that I think about it, maybe not a bad thing to lose your tweet history. I mean, these days, people are losing jobs and positions and whatever, and opportunities. Kevin Hart lost opportunity to host the Oscars or something, and like this lady, this latest head of the disinformation bureau of the government, of course, has been spouting disinformation like her whole adult life. A lot of it on Twitter. Like, maybe not a bad thing that all my tweets have gone into Never Never Land and were hacked. So I've started over. I don't think I know I haven't done any tweets yet. I don't know if it counts. I've done a couple of retweets when I saw something hilarious and ridiculous, mostly about Elon Musk versus these loser, anti-free speech, anti-capitalist scum that work at Twitter. But I'll be having some fun with Twitter, and if Elon Musk does come back and clean it up, I might possibly even start using it again. Anyway, I will continue my journey with Elon Musk. That's it for Throwback Thursday, May 19th, 2022. As the sun sets in the west, I bid you adieu. Thanks for being here or watching on the replay, and I'll catch you tomorrow on Foundation Friday. See you then.